What's your basic position on taxes? In my first book, I wrote just a couple pages. Like simple flat tax to me makes sense, and maybe you can have some exclusions for like under 50 grand, and maybe just to throw the Dems a bone, you could do a little progressive thing if you're making over 5 million a year or something. I don't think it's morally right.
Just
at a compromise.
Just throwing a bone.
Not that they ever take that bone and say it's enough, but what's your general policy on taxes?
I mean, look, man, if there were zero, this country would rock.
Yeah.
And, look, if you give me my tax money back, I'm going to spend it. I'm going to invest it. So like, I don't pay federal taxes. My federal tax bill for the last 20 years, I paid maybe 2 years out of 20. So I do everything I can not to pay federal. I don't mind paying local taxes. Property taxes, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. I go buy something, tax me. I go buy a car, tax me. That's fine. But there's so many taxes in this country right now, it's unbelievable. I earn income. Yep. Let's say I earn $1 million. They want, what do they want? 40% of that?
30%.
Yeah. So 400 grand went to the federal government. If you live in New York City, they took another 100. Now I have 500,000 left. I go spend the 500, they tax it. The 500 went to you. I went and spent it at the Rubin Associates company. You had to pay taxes on the 500. So I paid taxes on my million. You paid taxes on the 500. Yep. You gave 300 grand to the guy down the street. He had to pay taxes on it. Dude, everybody's being taxed. Like, this money's been taxed so many times. We should get this thing back to zero.
So you would have no federal... You would have no federal income tax.
I mean, I know that's impossible to say. People can be like, that's ridiculous. Remember when the Boston Tea thing happened? When was that? What,
1770?
That was over 1%.
Yeah.
1%, you know?
Right.
We said, no, ain't going to happen. Now they're like, hey, we're going to raise taxes. Okay, how much? Our corporate taxes are too high. They should be 15%. We should have the lowest corporate taxes in the world. We should have the lowest interest rates in the world. We should have the best education, the best health, the best roads. If we don't do that, somebody else is going to do it. That's what they're doing in the UAE right now.
And the UAE
there's no taxes there.
Yeah, I think people have a hard time understanding how the UAE has evolved, sort of economically and socially, actually. Over
more millionaires are moving to the UAE right now than any place on the planet. They're moving there to say, okay, from all religions, by the way. You don't have to be a Muslim to live there. Okay, you don't have to wear a gown to live there or whatever it's called. They want to do business there. They're pro-business. They don't want to tax your dollars. They want your dollars. They want your energy. They want you to be over there. And
what does it feel like doing business there in that environment compared to here?
How can we do business? Everything's about how can we do business?
Yeah. So a certain set of people, not most of my audience know, but a certain set of people here, wait a minute. This guy's worth all this hundreds of millions of dollars and he's basically paid zero federal income tax.
Yeah, that's right.
18 out of 20 years. Yeah. So when they say the rich aren't paying their fair share, it actually does make sense.
Yeah. No.
I'm not making the argument. I'm just saying.
I
people,
totally understand.
Yeah.
What can I tell you? Like, you want to pay them, you pay them. I'm not sending this money. Yeah. Your family's not getting this money. Right. Your family's not getting this money. I am not depriving your family of something. Ask the people here locally how they feel about the taxes I pay here in Florida. Okay. Whatever I paid in property taxes is more than most people will ever pay in their lifetime, earn in their lifetime. So I want my money to stay in my local environment. That's my argument. If I was running for president, I'd run on that. We're going to teach every person in this country, even if we have taxes, I'm going to teach you how to pay zero taxes legally without going to jail, and how you'll have more money for your local community so the locals can take care of their community. I don't need to take care of Boston.
So give me like the basics on that. So when someone hears that, okay, wait a minute, he's made all this money, he's got all these businesses, somehow he's paying zero federal taxes.
Yeah, I'm not doing business in D.C. Like, I don't go to them for money. I don't get loans. The federal government's not involved in my business. I have no federal government contracts, okay? Well, who's going to pay for the military? Not me. I don't want to pay for them. Nobody's bombing our country. Right? We should take a hiatus on wars, man. Take 10 or 12 years and say, fuck it, we ain't helping anybody else except us. I like this American first idea for some period of time. Yeah. Until we're back to being a number one in everything. And we should be a number one in everything. So my federal taxes do not make this country better.
But just conceptually, when someone hears that and they go, wait a minute, how does he pay zero taxes? Can you just give me like a little bit of like the rough through line on how that actually works?
What I do is I invest
to legally do it.
I invest in properties.
Right.
So I take my money, I take garbage fiat, I convert it to something real like this, but this on steroids. Because I don't really want to pay for this. Your guy's back there working right now. You got to pay him. I don't want to pay for him.
I don't pay any of these guys.
Probably not, right? These guys out of love for you, right? Yeah. But what I want to do is I want to own property that pays me income, and that income from the property pays the property taxes, pays the expenses, the maintenance, the people, the problems, the taxes, whatever. It pays for everything, including the debt. And so when I buy that big piece of property, the tax code, we just bought $500 million worth of stuff here. Those properties are going to come probably this year with somewhere between $200 and $250 million worth of tax breaks. Depreciation. It's legitimate too, because those properties do depreciate. So there's no, it's not that I'm not paying taxes. I'm not paying them today. They're going to be deferred into the future, but I never sell my assets. So I'm never actually going to pay taxes.
So you ain't worried about it anytime soon.
But I'm not funding the craziness going on in the world.
Right. Where do you see sort of greener pastures right now?
And anybody can do that last hack, by the way. Anybody. You don't have to buy $500 million. You can go buy 16 units tomorrow and get the same tax breaks I get.
Where do you see kind of greener pastures? If people are trying to figure out where to buy something, maybe that they're going to rent, or some of the things you're doing.
Florida, anywhere in Florida, the Panhandle is going to be a boom.
Yeah.
Miami and Fort Lauderdale will be winners because there's nothing here.
What do you mean there's nothing here?
There's a bunch of old homes here. You know, if you shop this market and there's so many old homes, it's just, they're all going to get torn down, and there's going to be a megaplex.
It's unbelievable when I see some of the OGs that are here, even in the neighborhood that I'm in, people that bought their houses for like $100 grand, something like that now are walking with all this cash, and then who knows what they do with it. But it's amazing. It shows you why capitalism works.
Yeah, and outsiders make markets, so insiders don't make markets. Outsiders come in, like Ken Griffin comes in here with his $58 billion.
Yeah, he just buy like the most expensive house.
He's going to keep doing it, dude. He's bought so much stuff around here. And that story's, you can tell that story 50 or 60 times now. Texas is going to be great. Dallas will be a super city. Austin will be one of the great boom cities of the next 30 years. It's going to take a second. Some of these cities are very soft right now. Houston has no housing stock there. They haven't built anything in the last 2 years. That'll be a boom here over 26 and 27. Nashville will be great. The Carolinas is going to be awesome. Parts of Georgia, not all of it, but Atlanta, Savannah will be a great city. Myrtle Beach, all that.
There's a theme with all these places.
Yeah, they're warm.
And they're also all red.
They're red
electorally. Yeah. Is there any?
And the more, like I actually will benefit more if Kamala gets in office.
Right, it's a perverse version of what you just said. In a sense. Yeah.
But I don't want that. But I would benefit because they're going to continue the insanity.
Yeah.
And it'll force more and more people down that have been tempted. People have been tempted by Miami for the last 30 or 40 years because of the winners. So they'd come down here, snowbirds, they'd come down here and visit. Oh my God, I like it. And then they go back home. Now, a lot of them are starting to stick.
They're staying. You know how many Canadians are now staying? Well, they want to get the hell out of Canada for a million reasons, but I'm seeing a ton of that down here. The snowbirds just staying altogether.
Yeah. That's what I always thought, but no, they're going to go all the way.
A lot of people are Googling who's Mike right now. We're not talking about Michael Jordan, different Mike.
He just sold his house in Chicago.
He finally, that's an interesting one.
He wanted $27 million, and he got 14.
Didn't he originally want like 50 million or something? I think I've watched that video on YouTube. Michael Jordan, like he probably was at one time the coolest house in America. With all of that 90s Jordan stuff, and couldn't $15 million. And
it's been for sale for like, I don't know, a dozen years or something.
And but what does that say about the state of these cities? That Michael Jordan's house, massive estate, it had memorabilia, basketball court, the whole thing. $50 million in the scheme of things is nothing for a super fan of Michael Jordan to just be like, I'll steal that thing, and he could not get rid of it.
Yeah, well,
to me that's emblematic.
He overbuilt. Yeah, he built in the wrong place. At that time, it was the right place, but he didn't look to the future, right? So with real estate, you can't just look today. You got to be like, okay, well, where's the migration going? And there's got to be barriers. California's got big barriers, New York City, but as long as the people start sucking out, when they migrate out, like Arizona's been a freaking unbelievable people have made so much money in Arizona because California went over there out of their $3 million house, saw a $400,000 house and said, I'll buy 2 of these.
Yeah.
And so that's going to continue to happen around the country.